American spicy pumpkin pie, a recipe traditionally served around Thanksgiving, but one that I'm going to use to celebrate Halloween this year. So very simply, you'll need, for the spices, ground ginger, allspice and ground cinnamon to give a lovely aromatic, tangy flavour to the pie, 2 eggs, 2 cups of cooked pumpkin. Try and steam it, let it cool down first. It will give you a much better consistency inside your pie. Light brown sugar and a bit of double cream to bind it all together. So I'm just going to mix up my filling first. So 2 eggs going in. Whisk these down. Just break them up with a fork, quite simply. And then in with the brown sugar. So I've got pale brown sugar in here. You can use golden caster sugar if you'd like, or for really caramel finish, Demerara sugar is a great one. 120 ml cream. It's not a figure-friendly recipe, but absolutely delicious. Whisk, whisk, whisk. Add in your ground spices. So that's the ground ginger going in there. Ground allspice. Now, allspice and mixed spice are not the same thing. Allspice is actually a little berry that's dried and ground down, whereas mixed spice literally is a mixture of cinnamon, nutmeg, and various other spices like cloves. I can smell the spices already, absolutely gorgeous. So now time to add the pumpkin, and we're just going to mash it up together. Go. So I cooked this up last night, and I've just let it dry in a colander and cool down completely. Make sure you don't get splattered. Sure, people need to get a little bit of height to get a good leverage to squash this. So the mixture is going to be quite runny, but with the egg, it's actually going to set in the oven and bake for us. I'm going to show you how to fill a pie tin now with short crust pastry, and the runny filling will be poured in and baked for half an hour. So this is lovely served warm, or can even be served cold. So it'll form part of a meal, but I know some people who enjoy it as a dessert. So just a couple more lumps to go. You can, of course, do this in a food processor if you'd prefer, and you'll get a really smooth puree. I do like something with a little bit of texture, though. Makes it more interesting. Great. So that will do for the minute. So just to line our tin, you can make short crust pastry from scratch, but nowadays you get very good quality all butter short crust pastry. So I have a roll of it here. Typically, because butter pastry is such a fresh product, it's going to be frozen. So just let it defrost overnight in the fridge. Take your loose bottom pastry tin, see the bottom pops out, grease that with a bit of butter. That will just help the pastry to lift out even easier. Gently unroll it and lay it over the pastry tin. And what we want to do is to gently push it into the fluting, which will give a nice pretty edge to the pie itself. Pastry doesn't like heat, so it doesn't like the heat from your hands, it doesn't like a hot kitchen, and that's why it can be quite tricky to make. So what I recommend people do is just take a little ball of cling film and use the cling film to push the pastry into the fluting. And that means that your fingers aren't touching it and melting it and won't be piercing it either. There we go, so that works really, really well. And just work quickly with it. Now you need to bake off your pastry shell first to make sure that it's waterproof, because you've got a liquid going in there. So just pop it into your oven at 180 degrees for about 8 to 10 minutes until it's a very light golden. And this just will solidify the pastry and make sure that it can take the liquid. So I've done one already. So I'm just going to give my pumpkin filling another little mix. Make sure that it's mostly lump-free. There we go. So pumpkin filling in. Smells absolutely delicious. So as you can see, it actually makes quite a large pie. So this would be good for 6 people as a side dish. Little solid bits at the bottom. Now I always recommend that when you're putting a pastry shell or tart like this into the oven, you put on a baking tray first, because you have baked off your pastry first, but little bits could still leak out if your pastry is not 100% liquid proof. So onto the baking tray in case anything leaks out. Also makes it easier for you to handle, because if you take this out of the oven and your fingers are under it, you can pop up the base and there goes your whole tart, and that would be a real tragedy. So 180 degrees for half an hour. If you have a really powerful oven and the top of your tart starts browning too quickly, you can put a baking tray, just slide a baking tray over it, and that means that the rest of the tart's going to cook through in the middle and your top won't be too brown. So I'm going to check my tart after 20 minutes and see how it's getting on, but it should be done in about half an hour. My kitchen is filled with a wonderful aroma of spicy American pumpkin pie. So it's ready to come out the oven now. Smells gorgeous. So the pumpkin pie is gorgeous served warm, but it's a little bit too hot to take out the tin just yet. So let it cool down for a few minutes before you push it out of the loose bottom tin. Just for a bit of decoration and some complementary flavour, a bit of orange zest adds a nice touch. So this is a little zester. Grip an orange at the base with your thumb and drag the zester across the skin. And that will remove the orange zest, releasing a wonderful citrus fragrance. I often use orange zest to decorate and to flavour foods. You tend to forget about it and just use the juice and the segments inside, but the zest itself is absolutely, absolutely delicious. It's the perfect way to celebrate Halloween, Thanksgiving, or any autumnal celebration. Spicy American pumpkin pie.